Alright, so that's how you finish TC1, Texture Collage 1. So the first thing I'm going to do is save, and the second thing I'm going to do is start TC2, which is way shorter and easier. We're going to save, go to Save As, and after we've already saved it normally, we're going to save as TC2, and you're going to keep everything else the same. When you press Save, it's basically, and you press OK there, you're basically creating a second document, everything of which is already the way you made it, except that we're going to go into it and make some changes now. The first change we're going to make is Command U, and you guys are really going to like this. I'm going to work with my lava first because I think it's going to make the biggest impact on you as viewers. So I'm going to press Command U, which opens up the ability to change the color of things. So we're going to change our hue to whatever color we want. Wow, that gold looked really cool, molten gold it looks like. We can make our saturation down if we find out that things look a little bit too bright to look realistic. What we want to do here is we want to change the color to something that looks cool, but we also don't want to stop the viewer from being able to see the texture. So some of these are just too bright. We're losing the texture. I might turn down my saturation a little bit. But that looks pretty neat. I also like that gold, and that purple is exactly what I want. That's what I'm going to keep. Press OK when you're done colorizing. You can go over here. I'm going to do this one too in front of you, so I'm going to change this to maybe a reddish color like that. I'm happy with that. Press OK. Now the other thing I wanted to show you is what if you pick something that doesn't already have color, because these things were very bright, so they were easy to change. When we choose something with very little color, like it's black and white or gray maybe, it's going to be a little bit different. We're still going to press Command U. You can click the colorize button on, which will help a little bit, and you can also move the saturation up. But as you can see, it works way better with the other things, the things that already had bright colors, because it only has, you know, what it came with to work with. So you are going to be able to change the colors of these things, but not as dramatically. Alright, so maybe I'll take one more. You don't have to change the color of everything, but you should change almost everything because you want to make this look nothing like the other project. So you want it to look as different as possible. I'm doing a lot of changing things to like a purple color on purpose because it's creating kind of a color scheme that I want to work in. Okay, so here's my TC2 with all my color changes. Next thing I want to do, and this is the last thing by the way, is pick a couple things that look like maybe they're higher than everything else, like this, and maybe even this rope. But 2 or 3 things randomly around my project that I want to make a little bit more of a focal point. So I'm going to start with this ice because that was my original focal point. A lot of things are leading to it. I'm going to double click right here on the layers area. You might remember using this layer style before when we did the zoo signs. You might have worked with a stroke. Here, a drop shadow is a little bit more appropriate. So I'm going to click and check drop shadow and then click the word to open up the things that I can change about it. Now the first thing I could change is the angle of the sun. Another thing that I could change is the distance of how far the object is hovering above the rest of the piece. And another thing that I could change is the size of it. Ironically, this says size, but you can see when I change it, it spreads out more. And when I change the spread, you can see that it gets bigger. So I feel like those are mislabeled, just so you know. But you could change all these things. So you just work with it until you're happy with it, and then press OK. Now you can see that this has created depth in my piece. It looks like this thing is hovering above everything else. So I might do that to 1 to 3 places of my piece, but not everything, because the point of this is to emphasize some things over others. So you wouldn't want to do it to every single area, because that would not make things stand out. That would make everything equal again. All right, that's a pretty cool drop shadow. Let me change up. I don't want to change the spread there. I didn't like that at all. There you go. I'll change the size a little bit. Press OK. And then maybe I'll pick one more thing like this thing on the other side of the page to try this with. You can see this is a pretty quick fix. Now one thing I should mention while you're changing these things is you might have noticed that I only changed the angle of the sun on one of them. That's because if I change it again, it affects all the rest because there can be only one sun. Now here's another thing that I noticed. When I open this up, and I'm going to press OK here, I have some shadows where I don't have an object. If I go to my eraser tool, I can erase that shadow. What's really happening is I'm erasing the object that was somehow left behind. I guess I wasn't as good at craftsmanship as I thought I was when I worked on this one piece here. And you can see that it left some things that's blocking the light and causing that shadow. So there you go. Now I'm going to call this one finished. So I've now shown you how to change your colors, and I purposely picked an all purple color scheme. You don't have to pick all the same, but you can. It does help highlight the fact that you're talking about textures and not colors. And also I've added drop shadows to certain areas to make those areas stand out even more. Alright, so as a super quick thing, I just wanted to point out that this was TC2 and this is TC1. So you can see how much just changing those couple things changed the entire way you look at the piece. So that's why you should have two separate ones. But as you saw, TC2 only takes a couple minutes to do. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to leave appropriate comments.